Hi, everyone. I'm in a bit of a predicament. I am facing a first listen to a band for the first time, and I don't even know how to pronounce the band's name. Voice of Baceprot, I don't know. Baceprot. Voice of Baceprot? I don't know. So, here I am. And, well, if any of you can enlighten me, please do so. However, I don't think it will have an impact on whether or not I can listen to their music. So, names aside, the song is going to be What's the Holy, in parentheses, Nobel or Nobel today? Well, there's another pronunciation conundrum. It reads like Nobel as in Nobel Peace Prize. Is it supposed to say no? I don't know. So, here I am. Let me read what there is to read about it. Maybe it will give me some clues, or maybe not. And then we'll listen. Voice of Baceprot, well, let's say VOB, is an Indonesian all-girl rock trio. Oh, that's cool. The group have faced opposition since their beginnings from conservative Muslims because they perform heavy rock metal music while wearing hijabs, and because of their gender, which inspired their groundbreaking, critically acclaimed singles, such as God, Allow Me Please to Play Music. Interesting. With What's the Holy Nobel today, or Nobel, from 2023, we're declaring that no positives can be taken from any war. Wars separate and destroy, exclaims bassist Weedy. Here I am struggling over pronunciations again. Obviously, Indonesian is not in my realm of experience when it comes to language. So, let's listen to the music.
Stop
I guess I didn't stop that at once, did I? Okay, well, where should I start? Um, Obviously, this is not a genre that I find myself personally attracted to for listening pleasure. Having said that, it's so interesting to me that I couldn't break away from listening to this enough to press pause. And to me, I felt it as so eloquent in a modern way, meaning what I know, I don't know if I would have felt the same if I hadn't read those few paragraphs at the beginning. But knowing that it's a group of women who wear their traditional dress and they are singing this and they are playing this. There's something so incredibly powerful about that. And really it's a great piece of music. It's I don't mean to say it's just because of who they are that makes it worth listening to. It's worth listening to because it's well-designed music. And maybe I should go back through, and probably I will go back through and pause and comment along the way, because that's what I normally do. And I just couldn't bring myself to do it this time around. I felt like it was such a, how should I say? I don't know if eloquent is really the word I'm looking for. It felt so real. It felt so genuine. I'm going to go with genuine. It felt so truthful. It felt like it was the voice of real people with their real fears and struggles in this world today, now, today. And that is what had me riveted to the piece. It felt like it was such a clear and direct expression. And I, that's not something that's easy to come up with in music, because very often, and if I look at the lyrics, I can't say that it's really literarily, poetically, highly developed. It's not something that strikes me as being, at the top of lyrical writing. And many times when we are trying to express our genuine, real emotions and feelings and concerns through an art form, we have to move more towards symbolism and find ways of expressing ourselves that can be heard. It's very hard to actually be compelling and speak in everyday style. This came across as being in a sort of everyday style, and it was so compelling. And that is really something that I find admirable, because it's hard to strike that balance. Do you want to make a real work of art that is, that feels polished and all of that? Or do you want to simply just express what you have? And if you do that, it might just sound like another voice chattering in the crowd. This does not sound like another voice chattering in the crowd, although it sounds like the voice of anyone from the crowd who has these fears and these struggles. So let's go back now, and I will pause along the way and comment on some of the things that really struck me as being part of what makes it so compelling and powerful that way. At first, I couldn't quite make out, is this a live performance, or is this part of the recorded version of the piece? And I think my conclusion is that it's not a live performance. It's part of their musical design of the piece. And you can hear chanting. You can hear. I can't quite make out what they're chanting, but it's clearly a crowd, a mass of people clamoring for something. Either it's a sort of conflict situation, or refugee camp situation, hunger situation, something like that. You can hear a sort of desperation and bit of chaos in the crowd. At the same time, they are unified enough in what they want to get that there is a group chant effect in the voices. And then and we just light the fire and take off running. Now here, simple, direct, straight to the point. Stop war, we hate war. Stop war, we hate war. In a chant style, which makes me think, okay, that opening crowd, again, it's a scene of some conflict or side effect of war situation. And now they are taking that crowd environment and they are putting a voice and putting words, interpreting whatever that crowd was clamoring for, and putting it into actually what the crowd means, feels, and says. In other words, they're becoming the voice for the crowd. They're becoming the interpreters for the crowd. I can't make out what the crowd is saying. Probably they're not saying stop war. Probably they're saying something else, political or some other desperate cry. But here, it becomes, stop war, we hate war. And that is the message that really is the cry of all those people. And when you listen to that and you recognize, stop war, stop killing life, stop war, stop burning the dream of our child. And now let's go back one more time to listen to this opening, because I think the two are so connected. Just that little sound bite there. Maybe they are saying stop war. Maybe. I'm not sure. But we all see these scenes, whether we're watching footage from historical events or whether we're watching footage from what's happening in the world today. We are familiar with scenes that sound like this, and we can all picture in our minds the desperation and the humanitarian crisis of a crowd like this. This is not a rock concert crowd enthusiasm. You can hear, even in just that little soundbite, it is something entirely different. And so, as we're listening to this and it's continuing on, stop killing life, stop burning the dream of our child. To me, I would say, well, as I've said, this sounds like these women, these musicians, have taken that humanitarian crisis, that famine, that war, destruction, and put a voice to it and become the voice for the people there. And it doesn't matter where. It doesn't matter if they're from Indonesia or from some other part of the world. What matters is that the tragedy is due to war.
Stop running the dream of a child in the light when I see the children cry. I'm dying in the light when I see the children cry. In the pride of bombs, 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 their dreams were killed by rising sun. Their hope deprived by the smell of hate, and they cry. They die, and the holy Nobel is gone. Do you feel hopeless?
Yes, the Holy Nobel. And yes, I guess I was right to kind of joke about, is it referring to the Nobel Peace Prize? I think it is. The Holy Nobel is gone. The Nobel Peace Prize, in other words, peace is gone, and the people who would create peace are gone. That is not here. Hey, Mrs. Nobel, where are you now? Hey, Mr. Nobel, where are you now? What is the Holy Nobel today? Where are the people who are interested in preserving and engineering and cultivating peace in this world? And as I said, this is not something that seems incredibly poetic lyrically as I read it. Their dreams were killed by racism, their hope deprived by the spender of hate. Then they cry, they die, and the Holy Nobel is gone. Do you feel hopeless with our future? When the newspaper talk about nuclear weaponry of the nation to save human rights, it's so stupid. When the TV shows that the power of Earth is ready to fight. Hey, Mrs. Nobel, where are you now? That's basically the message. And it sounds so ordinary English speak. Just a little bit of arrangement of the text to fit the music, doesn't it? And it works so incredibly well.
Their hope deprived by the smell of hate, and they cry. They die, and the Holy Nobel is gone. Do you feel hopeless with our future? When a newspaper talk about nuclear weaponry of the nation to save human rights.
And the manner of delivery.
When the TV shows that the power of Earth is ready to fight. Hey, Mrs. Nobel, where are you now?
And you hear in that voice, where are you now? There's a blend of crying, deep agony on the one hand, and then what is the Holy Nobel today? The cynicism and bitterness and sarcasm and just saying it doesn't exist. None of this matters anymore.
What's the Holy Nobel today? The world sets back to the doctor soldier. Should the gods to the rich people and turn all the right to love. The rules claim they're God, ready to take the power back to destroy anyone to be some ethic to create uniformity and to throw some religion. Child, just cry, can I run and die? Women and child, just cry, can I live from fire or fire?
And I think that of course, in this style of music, there are pretty standard tropes and patterns that we hear, and we hear it. The sound of the guitar, the crazy pace of the drums, the vocal style, it's all there. But I think that they're doing an incredibly good job of applying these stylistic elements in a meaningful way to the piece. When it's a little bit more lyrical, you hear in the voice this element of grief and crying, and of course the drums are doing a great job of keeping this sort of frantic pace and frantic energy. It's inescapable. It's desperate. The guitar adds this craze of noise and aggression, and all of that fits the message of the piece. of our seats. Make us uncomfortable. Now we settle into something more consistent, but it's ascending.
Stop war, we hate war. Stop war, we hate war. Stop war, we hate war. Stop war, we hate war.
This, stop, stop, stop. Applying these musical techniques, stop. Just as we're saying, stop war, we hate war. Stop war, we hate war. Great choice of how to set that.
Stop war, we hate war. 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 Stop war, we hate war.
And I love the way that the singer makes you hear the tears in her voice. Stop war, we hate war. Stop war. It's almost as if you hear her crying as she's singing. And then it doesn't end there, because what's happening next, and this is the moment at which I really got excited about the piece. So all the way through the first time I was riveted, but then we got to this point.
Stop war, we hate war. Stop war, we
Listen
hate
to what's
war.
coming.
Stop war, we hate war. 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 Stop war, we hate war.
And it's ascending in pitch, and it's increasing. It's you hear this in rock music. This sort of sometimes you hear it in the instruments, sometimes you hear it in the voice, but here they did such a great job of setting this text. Stop war, we hate war. Stop war, we hate. Stop war, we hate war. Stop war, and it becomes frantic and desperate, and you hear the rise in pitch that is such a natural response to begging and pleading and desperation and fear for one's life and all of that, and it's applied to this text.
Stop war, we hate war. 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 Stop war, we hate war.
Die. Now notice how they're using da 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 da. It's that same sort of rising, but it's a little bit more controlled here. It doesn't go up to such a frantic pitch, but the fact that it is preceded by that frantic pitch lets us experience each one of these rising lines as a sort of repetition and enhancement and emphasizing element. And you hear this. Stop war. And now you hear the people again. And the fact that this piece is bookended by that crowd. It's not just the opening. Okay, the opening was good, but it was when I came back to it at the end and felt the crowd return. That, again, is when I felt suddenly that this was the interpretation of what that crowd really wants and really needs and really feels. Whatever it is they're saying, whatever it is they're clamoring for, these women have taken this and said, let me tell you really, and let me make you hear really what these people are begging for. And so here I am with a piece of music in a style that is not my listening habit, something that I don't listen to for fun or pleasure. And yet here I am hearing this piece, this band for the first time, and feeling like it was an incredible experience hearing it. Incredibly moving, incredibly unsettling and motivating, as it ought to be for any of us who have a heart. And at the same time, I have great admiration developing for this band. And I would enjoy exploring a bit more of what they do in the future. So there it is, my first time. If any of you know how to pronounce the band's name, please let me know, because next time I listen to them, I would like to be able to pronounce it properly. So there's my first time. What's the holy Nobel today? And it was worth my time. I'll see you soon.